This men's haircare brand just tested 841 ads in the last 30 days. And if the numbers I heard are accurate, they are doing about $5 million a month. So in this video, I'll go through how they're scaling on Meta. Growthub, my agency, we manage $107 million in ad spend a year on Meta ads. So basically, based on my experience, I'll go through what I like from these e-com brand ads, main, superior main, what I change if this was a client. So in this video, I want to break down how this brand operates, because this is very different from other accounts I analyzed recently. Main runs 6 products across 3 sophistication stages at the same time. So let's look at their ad account. If we look at the last 30 days, they tested 841 new ads, about 28 new ads a day, counting every day of the month. So their ad production system is set up to create a lot of ads. But a lot of brands, they create a lot of ads, but then they don't see an improvement by creating more ads. They don't see more winning ads. So what you want is this, you want to see a correlation between doing more ads and more winning ads, and an increase in revenue and ad spend. So what they do that is very interesting is that they follow Andromeda best practices. They do a lot of ads that are really different visually. And if we look at the landing pages, they don't do anything crazy here. So if we look at the landing pages, they have 30% on advertorials and the rest on the landing pages. Most of the traffic goes to the 3 main product pages that we can see here. So the gray reverse bar, that is basically the first one. Probably the reason why they're spending more here, and it wasn't the case before, is that this is a new product. So basically this is working better for them right now. Then strengthen and protect duo with the root activator shampoo and the root activator conditioner, and then the root activator shampoo. Each landing page has a different offer or product. We see 20% of the traffic to the gray reverse bar, 15% to the duo, the bundle, and 12% to the shampoo. And they also have this no shave hair removal spray. Very important, the positioning, and basically we want to match the claims, the marketing type of angles we use to the level of the market. So we're gonna see the sophistication levels and also awareness levels of it, but especially sophistication level for each product. This category is late stage 4, almost stage 5. So it's very difficult to go to this category to convert them. While gray hair reversal basically goes to between stage 3 and early stage 4, because this is a newer category compared to hair loss, is less saturated. Then you have no shave hair removal, for example. Another product they have here is in stage 4, because it's something that is pretty saturated, maybe not as much as the first one, but definitely very saturated. And so basically what you have to do here, you have to improve even more the mechanism, but it's pretty difficult. Maybe you want to have some real proof that your mechanism is better, or you can also change the avatar. So what they are doing here is basically trying to go more for the gym personas. So same mechanism, new avatar, more or less. Very common in stage 4 sophistication. And it's very important that we understand when we market a product, the actual sophistication of the market we are marketing to. Sometimes, even if you just market to the US compared to another market, they can be a very different sophistication level or even awareness level for most of the customers. Main is operating across different products and different sophistication levels. So hair thinning needs new mechanism names because DHT is the most known one and almost everyone knows it. Gray reversal can still use a standard mechanism because it's newer and it's less saturated. Depending on the different stages, sophistication levels will use different type of creative. So let's look at the main personas they target. So the first persona is the thinning man. So let's look at this.
POV, you've been scratching the same spot on your head for weeks and just realized it's exactly where your hair is thinning. That's not a coincidence. That itch is literally your hair follicles dying. Here are 5 signs your scalp might be crying out for help.
basically it starts like this, and then it goes for 5 signs, so the listicle type of ad. Another one is the aging dad, like this one is yeah, AI hook, but the idea, like the main thing they do here is they test a lot of hooks, some with AI, some without. Then after the hook, they go against competitors usually.
Bro, I tried out the shampoo you suggest, but it's taking so long.
The key is to be patient. It'll work, but you just have to wait. Someone complained our gray reverse bar works too slowly. They're right. Hair dyes work in minutes. This takes weeks. Here's why that's better. Quick dyes damage your scalp. Our bar restores.
So basically, like this, one of the winning ads, most likely, and then they test a lot of hooks, a lot of different hooks, and also a lot of visually different hooks on this ad that is probably working very well for them. And here they just go against competitors and explain why, not just why they are better, but also why they are different. And so even something that might be negative at the beginning, but then they explain why they are actually better than competitors. Another persona is the body hair self-conscious gym bro.
She noticed your back and shoulder hair before your muscles. Fix that in 5 minutes. No razor, no pain, no help. I'm about to spill what actually works for back and shoulder hair removal. As a personal trainer for 6 years.
And they use a lot of these type of ads with existing footage and a lot of B-rolls and the voiceover. This is something that if it works for your brand, obviously it's very nice because you can create a lot of these ads and can create a lot of volume. Obviously you want to also see that by creating more, you continue to test different angles to change also the visuals. You can add some more diversity so you can find more winning ads, and it's not just the same type of ad and just iterating the hook or doing very small iterations, because that usually doesn't correlate to actually more winning ads. Then if we look at basically the personas we just mentioned, it looks like, looking at the ad account, that they are mainly thinking about one persona per product. It might be they're actually trying to target many more, but from a first look, it looks like it's mainly structured like this, and that's how they see it. What we usually do, what we think is very, very important, is to start to add more personas. So you have one product here, instead of having one persona, you start to have many more. And so for each product, it looks more like this, and actually you have many more angles. You want to usually add at least 2 to 3 buyer personas, ideally even more for each product. Otherwise, the persona might be too broad. So even if it's just one persona you're thinking about, for that persona, you could actually maybe divide it in 2 or 3 different buyer personas. Let's look, for example, at the hair thinning product. Instead of using the thinning man, which is very broad, we can use sub-personas for better diversity. Like from what we see in the script, it looks like basically the persona is just the thin man, and it's not specific for smaller buyer personas. So we could actually look at the early stage thinning young man, the prescription drug refugee, the itchy scalp sufferer, and then for each one we brainstorm awareness levels and angles for each awareness level. So let's look at awareness levels, and for each persona, for example, itchy scalp sufferer. So for unaware, we can say like an angle can be constant itching that won't stop. Itching is an early warning. For unaware, 5 signs your scalp is crying out for help. The itch, white flakes, the tightness. Basically here we can list all different angles based on the awareness levels and based on these buyer persona. And then we can repeat the process for the other buyer persona. So basically this gets you at least 10 angles for each buyer persona, and at least 30 different angles that you can test for just one product. So if we look at this, for each buyer persona, we can have a map like this, where you have a lot of different angles, and you can continue to add more here. And this would be for just one product, and then you can do the same for more products, especially in this case that they have multiple products. Then let's look at some winning angles. So very interesting. I think one angle that is probably winning for them. Why? Because we see a correlation between using these ads a lot in the past and also right now. So if you see a pattern between the ads that are running for a long time and also new ones they are testing, it's probably because they are saying this thing works, I'm gonna test it again and again and again. And maybe they use the angle, they continue to change the format, or they use the format, continue to change the angle, but the patterns that you see in common between old ads and new ads are probably the things that continue to work. They are probably not going to continue to test something that doesn't work, right? This angle is probably working pretty well. Mechanism story, so pain point is nothing has worked because no one has explained what's actually going wrong inside your body. So here they present a new mechanism and use that curiosity loop to educate. Let's look at this.
Ever scratch your head and wonder why the itching never stops? Turns out something's been living in your follicles this whole time. Here are 4 signs you have.
Something is living in your follicles, and this obviously creates some curiosity. And then basically you have 4 reasons.
Mites feeding on your hair follicles right now. And the last one, almost nobody connects it to these parasites.
And it just creates more curiosity and then basically talks about these 4 signs. Then angle 2, cost comparison. So pain point, I'm spending too much money in pills that don't work. So they compare their solution to others with math. They show, for example, $600 a year, medicine like this minoxidil, but this pretty famous one, versus their shampoo.
Watch how I went from paying $600 yearly for mediocre hair growth to thick, full hair for pennies. That popular minoxidil treatment costs $50 every month forever. Sure, you might see some regrowth.
So yeah, that's the main thing they do here, just comparison. Then another one is basically authority figures or fake authorities. So basically pain point here is my hair is thinning, but most people my age and famous celebrities don't usually struggle with this. So for example, let's look at this ad.
I've spent 8 years cutting hair for some of the biggest names in Hollywood and the NBA, and I always wondered how these guys maintain that long, thick, luscious hair even...
Okay, so basically as a hairstylist for celebrity clients or coach for athletes, these things are nothing crazy, like you don't have to have a fake doctor in this case, but it's still something that storytelling they invented that gives some sort of authority to the person speaking and actually helps also for conversion. So if we see their ads, for example, the ads were uploading in March and the ads they're uploading now in May, we see they changed. Before the mechanism was more DHT and now it's mainly Demodex mites. Like now they use more these horror stories. They changed the mechanism and the explanation, how they explain the product. So what happens there is that sometimes if you don't scale, it's not just the angle and the format that is the main things you usually want to look at, but it might also be that your mechanism is not working anymore because you have an audience that is more sophisticated now compared to a year ago, for example. And so you want to change the mechanism. Or maybe your mechanism was good enough to get you to this point. Maybe let's say you scale to 1 million a month with that. And now it's not good enough to actually get you to 5 million a month. So maybe you want to test it again. Same thing there with the offer. Maybe with this AOV or LTV, you got this revenue level, but you might need to afford a higher CPA to actually scale even more. So obviously there are some times where it's not just the ads, but it's also the overall strategy and the other things that impact that a lot. But obviously just by doing better ads you usually can scale much more, but there are some times where there is a ceiling and you're hitting a ceiling, you have to move other things around to be able to scale even more. So let's look at the formats too. Some formats they use a lot are these whiteboard where they basically explain the mechanism in the whiteboard. Then these sort of fake authority narrator, so like voiceover ad with B-rolls, these Hollywood hairstylist, personal trainer, men's skincare specialist or something. UGC mashups with the voiceover narration or even the AI green screen creators or POV format or even a comic slideshow. And then we see also like the testimonial ads, like static ads. These ones are mainly for retargeting, but the thing that actually surprised me was seeing how different the ad library was when I looked at that. And you see how many different type of ads they use. So they are definitely doing something right here, because that's very important for Andromeda. And if you see the ads, They are definitely testing a lot. Maybe not that much in terms of angles, and they might test even more in terms of angles, in my opinion. But they definitely test a lot of formats, a lot of visual diversity. Usually, for most brands, it's the opposite. They are able to test a lot of angles, not always, but very commonly they don't test enough angles and they don't test enough format. But usually it's more common for the ones that are doing things well, that they test a lot of angles and they struggle with format. In this case, they are definitely testing a lot of different formats and visual and ads that look visually different. Definitely they are doing a very good job with the formats, as mentioned. They also changed the mechanism and tested new ones that works pretty well. It's definitely a good thing. In terms of the funnel, this seems to work. They also have a way in the funnel to make most people buy more units, like 2 or 3 or 5 instead of just one, by having higher discounts when you buy more volume. At the same time, I'll definitely test some more funnels and see how test more advertorials, even though they already have several advertorials, but also testing a quiz funnel, a few more listicles, and see what works best. Some other things that I think they could do, definitely potentially trying founder ads, less scalable, but it looks like they have a good founder story, and so they might use the founder for more ads. Definitely more authority ads, because they don't really have dermatologists, they don't really have many experts in the ads, and actually the ads they're doing with these authority figures, with these storytelling ads with the voiceover, are working pretty well apparently. And so that's something that they could try to even double down on by using some actual experts. Then more before and afters, I think there aren't so many before and afters, and they definitely have a lot of reviews that they could use. So I'll definitely try to double down on that and make these look as credible as possible. So just taking the reviews that show this transformation better, so that can definitely help with trust from potential new customers. In general, what we see is that if you want to scale an ad account, you need more ads and you need better ads. And what they're doing very well is that they are doing 800 ads, but at the same time, they are keeping a good quality. Obviously, there are a lot of things I would improve, and in terms of the execution, a lot of these ads are pretty simple, nothing crazy. But looking at how they are scaling, it works for them, and they found a very efficient process to create all these ads. And what they do well too is that they follow the best practices from Andromeda. So basically continue to test different ads, not just iterating on the hooks or on the winning ad, but testing a lot of different formats and testing a lot of different angles. And if you look at their ads, they are definitely very different in terms of visuals, and that definitely helps. And that's basically what we do too with our clients. We test a lot of different formats, and especially when they have a winning ad, a winning angle, we are able to test it in a lot of different formats, and that definitely helps with Andromeda and to scale more and faster on Meta. If you're watching this and you're spending more than 50K a month on Meta, and you like me to take a look at your ad account, see what I think you're doing right and what I would improve and I would test to scale more, just book a call with me. There is a link below, and I'm happy to take a look at your account. Otherwise, if you liked the video and you want me to create more content like this, just let me know what you'd like me to cover next in the comments.